morning, good afternoon, good evening. In very case, this is a very late evening for us. Good metal. My name's Coop, and as ever, I'm always joined by brother Tim. And thank you for listening to the Spoken Metal Show this evening. This is episode 5.
5, wow.
5. So when we get to double figures, we'll do something special. We should do something special for each one, but when we get to double figures, we'll do something special, like not swear or actually say something of any meaning.
I'm not entirely sure I'm not going to be able to not swear.
Okay, fuck that.
Okay, yeah.
So we've done some other shows as well. This is like there's been 5. We've done a special where we talked about Steve Vai, which we hope you enjoyed, and then we did a special where we talked to brother Neil Mellor, which the feedback has been really good from. So as always, you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. And obviously we're working very hard at the moment now to try and get this onto iTunes. And when I say working very hard, it's because I'm not very intelligent with technology, and Tim is like using me like a mallet on the PC to try and get it working. But we will get there.
Yeah.
Enough. Episode 5, the Spoken Metal Show. How are you, Mr. Tim?
Well, I'm not bad. We're sitting in our makeshift studio,
like real big boys, like we know what we're doing. We're in a studio, which is like this lovely. I'll take a picture. It's a lovely area. It's not like cramped at all. It's like a real studio, a real like big boy studio. So we have to talk about stuff of weight. So what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of news as always, and then we'll do the Fuck, Marry, Kill, which is a really good one this time round. This is Ozzy.
I think it's the hardest one.
And it's hardest one, and I think that makes it's probably going to be the best one. We'll maybe do a little bit of news after that and some of the things that I wouldn't mind covering, and then we'll send you home happy, hopefully. Thanks for listening, and I think we'll start off with the news. Okay, so Kurt Cobain's alive.
Yeah. Who said Kurt Cobain's alive again? Or
it's on the internet. Obviously, it's on the internet. How is that a conspiracy theorist? If he's just saying, because it's not really like a government thing where it's like Kurt Cobain really killed John F. Kennedy, or it's not like that, is it? It's just it's someone who looks like Kurt Cobain, so it must be Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain's actually responsible for chemtrails.
Yeah, it's not like that.
No,
it's just Kurt Cobain is live, and fucking hell, the internet, if I may address you all, fucking get better than this. We're better than this internet. Have you seen the pictures? I've called it the pictures so you can see. There are the 2 pictures side by side of the gentleman who is purported to be Kurt Cobain.
Looks like one of my ex-girlfriends, to be quite frank.
Wow. Yeah. But there's numerous problems, and they've pointed them out because Nirvana, pretty shortly afterwards, obviously they put the comment, which is it is true, Kurt is alive. He needed time to learn to play the guitar with his right hand. Finding left-handed guitars is not very easy. We are also so happy to have him back and forgive him for all the sadness that we have held so deeply in our hearts. Because the guy is playing right-handed.
I wonder who actually runs that Nirvana page.
I don't know. I don't think it's a page.
But
obviously,
just someone?
If it wasn't clear then, sorry, because I'm babbling, because I'm looking at this ridiculous photo, I've got to be honest. Obviously, Kurt Cobain, like Hendrix, left-handed. So obviously, what the hell? Because he's playing his guitar with his right hand. But moreover that, for the guitar aficionados out there, what guitar is that? That looks like a pretty basic Strat to me.
That looks like a Strat with, well, it's a 3-colour sunburst Strat with a white pick guard.
The headstock looks a touch big.
It looks like some kind of shitty copy from the Far East.
Now, if I remember rightly, he didn't play Strats. I don't know the guitar.
He did once or twice.
But that wasn't his axe of choice, was it? It wasn't his weapon of choice.
It was the Jagstang, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was his thing.
That was his thing.
So let's take that to the side. The other thing is, there's no way that he would wear those clothes he's wearing. That's like Primark's version of Kurt Cobain.
Do you know what? The jeans look suspiciously ironed.
Yeah, iron jeans. Is there a bigger offence?
I don't think for Kurt, no, he would have killed you.
He would have killed you.
If you tried to put iron jeans on him.
And then let's have a look at his hair. Now, Kurt would have been, how old would Kurt have been now? Like, Christ, he would have been getting on now.
Well, around the same age as Dave Grohl. And do you know what Chris Novoselic?
Yeah.
Or Novoselic, how would you ever pronounce it? Oh, he looks old.
Is he going old now?
He looks really old, yeah.
Well, so he's old, and that looks like a fairly young man. And so
that could be a guy. And he looks like one of the singers from Silverchair.
Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Kurt Cobain. It's awful, isn't it? It's like but look, do you know what though? It raised a really. We'll laugh and joke about someone saying they think that actually is Kurt Cobain. Well, a load of nonsense, obviously. The guy died, for whatever reason, was killed, if you believe that, or killed himself, whichever way you want to think about that. He's not there anymore, and that's fine. You know what I mean? That's how it happened. Let's leave that and let's move on. I don't understand why people are so obsessed with finding out people who were meant to be dead are actually still alive.
They wanted him to work with Tupac
really?
On a new album. Clearly,
do you think he would have done it?
No.
Do you
know what? One thing I did read, and that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Just before he died, he was meant to be going into the studio with Michael Stipe from R.E.M.
But they're friends, weren't they? Yeah,
they were friends. And that would have been, I'll tell you what, that would have been a fucking phenomenal record.
I don't know if do you know what? He probably would have ended up being that guy that just stopped recording and just 30 years later, he brings out a record and no one knew out. It turns out it's the best thing in the world. You know what I mean? Or he would. I would imagine he'd be that guy.
He wanted to be a recluse. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Here's the serious side to this. Yeah, and I'm sure it's been asked before, but I'm just interested on your take on it. So say it is. Let's say for the sake of art, it's not, because that's fucking madness and we've got eyes. But say that is Kurt Cobain, right? And he comes out and he plays this show, and all along he hasn't been dead. It's been some kind. Let's just whatever reason you want to insert. It's all been a dream, Dallas style. We get out the shower and Kurt Cobain's still alive, right? What do you think he'd make of his two cohorts? What do you think he would have made of obviously Dave? But well, what would he have made of his two friends?
The one thing Grohl's never done is play a Nirvana song.
Really, ever?
I have never heard of Dave Grohl.
I can't say I've seen him a few times.
They did like a tribute thing, didn't they?
Right.
When he did play the drums, but he's never in his Foo Fighters gigs, and I've seen him like 6 times.
I've seen Dave Grohl a lot.
Yeah, right. I've never heard him ever do a Nirvana song.
Right.
And I think Kurt would respect that.
Yeah.
And he'd also respect the fact that Chris, he has been in bands.
He did like Sweet 75,
yeah,
I think they were called.
Crazy,
the very normally fairly underground stuff.
Crazy-ass underground projects.
He was definitely the flag
bearer. And I think he'd respect that as well. I don't think he'd like... For Dave, he wouldn't like that Dave was famous.
Yeah.
I think he'd worry about the fame that Dave has.
Yeah.
I think he'd just be like, that mustn't be very nice for you.
Yeah.
Grohl wears his fame like a cape, and he wears it well.
Yeah.
He wears it better than most. But I think he'd just be like, that must be horrible for you.
Yeah.
Because he hated fame.
Yeah.
He hated fame.
Well, it's wild. It is the classic case of someone thinking that all their problems would be solved when they became famous, in inverted commas, and when they became famous, it actually just brings up a whole new set of problems, and you've still got your old set of problems. You know what I mean? That's really tough.
There's a Pearl Jam lyric in State of Love and Trust: "Famous, painfully quick."
There you go.
And that's what happened. Yeah. And it highlights, on a very serious note, and we don't often do serious, do we?
I find it largely impossible.
One on a serious note is mental health issues are very real.
Yeah, this is the thing.
That's something to acknowledge, I think.
By the way, if you've just gone to make a cup of coffee and you've had this on, or you've been listening through and you suddenly come back, welcome, hello. I know we've already gone in through suicide, fame. We've already covered some of the dark sort of Faustian things, selling to your soul for fame, and we laugh about it because the mindless situation of someone thinking that that's Kurt Cobain. But the very serious thing, like Tim says, and I'd like to, someone that sent us a message a couple of days ago about they were impressed, believe it or not, that there was some intelligent debate going on, particularly when we talked about the race thing with Phil Anselmo, and how 1 minute we were joking about bits and pieces, and then when we talked about that, we dealt with it in a very straight up way and in as intelligent as we possibly can, because that is an important thing, and things like mental illness and the things that the accoutrements that go with that, and the problems that the people who suffer from that, is an extremely serious thing. And it's blighted with not just metal stars, although metal stars seem to have a large contingency of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody has to see the decline of Western civilization will see some of the things that happened with people with mental illness and people with addiction problems as well. But
Paul Stanley.
Music is there anything, maybe sport, that can get you famous quicker than music? Even sport, you have to be fairly. You have to have years of training.
Years of training.
You can be famous fairly quickly.
Music is the most instant form of fame.
You know, and it's
or
it's
kill
dangerous.
someone famous.
Yeah, you know,
You could be a mass murderer.
Yeah, and so the quickest way sometimes is to become a musician, and it's these things that, you know, a lot of people don't talk about it. Don't talk about you know, suicidal tendencies. The not the band, obviously, the problem, and things like stress and stuff and things like that. We touched on this when we talked about hearing, about a lot of this, if it's too loud, you're too old bollocks, and that if you're you can't be stressed out about something, you can't have problems because that's not very fucking rock and roll. Well, it is, because it's something that needs to be talked about, and usually, and I would say this, usually when people do talk about it within song, for the most part, it's normally their best songs and their most lauded songs are when they talk about serious issues within it, because the only way they can regale you with that is through a song.
Think in the alternative world, the alternative scene, the best songs are born out of pain.
Yeah. And it's tough because, you know, the general public love to build up a hero and they love to take them down as well. It's tough. They like to put them on that roller coaster. You know, it's
fucking Hello magazine.
Yeah,
and that fucking bullshit.
Parasites and all that nonsense. Yeah. So you know what? I'd like to believe somewhere. I see that wonderful picture every now and again when someone dies and they put a mock-up of several people together up in heaven, if you will, if you believe in the concept or whatever it is. And it's like him, Jimmy. You know what I mean?
Lane Staley.
Yeah, Lane Staley sometimes. And
They'd just be arguing.
Someone will throw Keith Moon in there, and you just think to yourself, I'd like to think that happens. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to think that at some point you get to me, because for me, I think it'd be a fucking nightmare, because you'd be like, I need to take a piss, but Hendrix has just been on. Keith Moon's doing a drum solo, and then Kurt's getting up doing an intimate little bit of acoustic thing. And the last 20 minutes is Johnny Cash. I'd be like, fuck, how the hell do I go to the toilet here? Who am I going to miss?
You can't miss Johnny Cash.
Yeah, you can't miss. You couldn't miss Johnny Cash. I heard, well, I don't know, but just talking about Johnny Cash, I heard that he did that. He played his set at the Viper Rooms once, and it was in front of like the Viper Room clientele, which is like, you know, quite tough, very kind of, you know, with a crowd. And at the end, everybody was like, more. And this guy's obviously got a pantheon of hits. And he played just hits from his old thing, just him and a guitar. And you just think to yourself, if you can do that, that's why Cash gets a pass. That's why Cash is fucking metal. Let's be right honest about it. That's why Cash is fucking metal.
He played the best version of Rusty Cage ever.
Yeah. And then he robs fucking, Robert Hurt? He robs Hurt from Trent Reznor right from under his nose.
And
like.
everyone now thinks that Hurt was written by Johnny Cash.
He does.
And like covered by Nine Inch Nails.
What we call in some circles the Hendrix, like where Bob Dylan's going, Hendrix wants to cover one of your songs, fucking let him on Bob Dylan, it's a classic and I've wrote it. And then all of a sudden he hears some wild ass slide guitar solo and he's like, fucking hell, and he just gets the fucking rug pulled from
He didn't
under
even
him.
write Hey Joe.
Yeah, no, it's
there you go.
So what a big Bill Brucey or something like that.
Bill Brunsey. If it was, his guitar stuff is insanely hard to play.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So on to more lighter news. Someone's suing Guns N' Roses.
Hey, it's good. Are we ever going to get away from Guns N' Roses?
No, we've not mentioned the band that is Electrical Current yet, so we won't mention them because we've done enough about that band.
Yeah, that band.
We can't get away from Metallica because that's coming up in another thing that I need to talk about. But Guns N' Roses, basically, he's Axl Rose getting a lawsuit put against him from Chris Pittman. Who probably a lot of people didn't know. He worked on Chinese Democracy, which not a lot of people know.
Poor guy.
And he's obviously suing him for some bits and pieces. Credit, I believe, is the biggest thing that he's suing him for. And I just think to myself, And we're just scrolling through now just to see what he's going. He's only seeking $163,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Axel, give me that's your sweet allowance for the month.
The singer wrote him a promissory note for $125,000 due for more than a year's work again. I can't help to believe that's fucking chump change for Axel there. Maybe it's just the point of it. He's like, fuck
that's fucking short change. The amount of money you'll be getting just from fucking royalties, from Appetite and the Usual Illusion albums. Never mind all the fucking videos that get played all the time.
What's your thoughts on Chinese democracy?
Do you want like my like, you know,
quick review,
political
lift review, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, lift review. Do you like Guns N' Roses? Yes. Don't fucking listen to this album. Do you like Guns N' Roses? No. Don't fucking listen to this album. Because it's some kind of weird ass.
Are you Pittman? Don't listen to this album. You just get
synthesizers and shitty vocals. I do think he's singing well now, but it's.
We weren't going to mention Akadaka, but we have to because obviously it ties with Axl Roses. Obviously, that's what he's doing at the moment. As no one's commented on this, and it's a massive fucking bandana wearing elephant in the room. Is that he's on time every night. so he's. I've actually got the tour manager who's just the best guy in the world who can somehow summon Axl from his slumber and get him on.
I bet they've put a shot collar on him. Like,
I'm just going to the next stand, lads.
If he tries to go, I'm not going on, because I reckon that's how he speaks.
No, do you know what it is? Yeah. I know exactly what this is, right? It's hierarchy. Okay, so here's what happens. Right, here's what happens at the beginning of the tour. Now, normally this is Guns N' Roses tour. We covered this before. Yeah. Tour manager comes in, blah blah blah, and it goes west. And we thought we'd have a problem with this. We talked about it being a problem, but it's not. When he normally tours with Guns N' Roses, the tour manager will come in and they go, yeah, whatever, and he comes on at 11:30 when he's meant to be in 9, and it fucks everybody's time up, whatever. Now, and he's top of the pyramid. Remember, Axl Rose is fucking rock star.
He is the top of the pyramid.
He's top of the pyramid. Sense, He was the top of that fucking pyramid. Yeah, but we're in Giza now, and the other pyramid, is bigger, and Angus Young is on the top of that. So Angus Young's come up and gone, you'll be on time every fucking show, and he's gone, who the fuck? Oh shit. Because he's like, oh, well, how many albums? Oh shit. Like Angus Young's like Mount Rushmore, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
He could say, son, you've ripped me off for a long time, just fucking get on stage.
Yeah. Shit. But who in metal is going to turn around and say, you know, fuck off, Angus? That's just
I generally don't know anyone who would, because do you know what? They've never actually really caused shit.
Yeah,
I know,
just got on with it.
There's been little blips, but they're not knobheads. They're clearly not knobheads.
Yeah,
Brian Johnson is clearly a fucking dude.
Yeah, they're all fucking lovely blokes. So I think that's what's happened. He's come in from the off and he's gone, listen. And I hope he's done it in schoolboy outfit as well. I hope he sat him down and gone, listen, Axl, I know what's going on. Yeah, we know all that shit. Yeah, but you're in AC/DC now. You're in the big school. So to save all that fucking shouting and all that fucking nonsense and all that messing around and all your entourage and all that, put all your fucking toys back in the pram. You'll be on at 9:30, end of story. You're doing 2.5 hours. And he's gone, all right. And that's how that's gone down. But someone's got him on stage fucking every time. You haven't been late once. World tour. And I've heard...
As I've said, shock collar.
Yeah.
He fucking gets electrocuted every time he tries to walk away from the stage.
Can you imagine that? I'd love to think... It's on his leg or something. That's what's happened, hasn't it? When he broke his leg, he wasn't. That's the collar, innit?
So he can't get away.
Yeah, he's got it on. Yeah. And it's just... You don't see it's chained him down, like... Amazing.
It's like one of my favourite things, Red Dwarf, when they get the boots that walk for them. And it's one of them. He tries to walk away and it walks him back. It takes one leg back. So he's either going to do the splits and do himself an injury, or just get on stage and do the thing. And he has done it. So fair. And
it must be hard to throw a rock star strop if the bigger rock star around you isn't throwing a strop. Like
I've never heard of one.
If you come down the aisle, in the aisle or the corridor where an Angus Young walking up and you go to Angus, all right for a photo, boss? And he's like, and I can't imagine he's saying anything other than like fucking sound. And he's going around and then he turns to you and you're Axl and you go, all right for a photo, boss? You're going to say whatever Angus said, because that's the, you're not going to go, fuck off, mate, Because he's going to be like, you're not going to say that, are you? So it's going to be.
No.
I think that's what's happened. But getting back to this, suing rock stars, fucking hell, that's an occupation in itself, isn't it? The minute anybody gets any money, that's it. Everybody comes out and starts suing the hell out of people. You know, it's no wonder, you know, you see it all over the place, because you can sue for virtually anything these days now. Like, you must have a team of lawyers the minute you get famous.
Well, as one of the articles said, he is rich as shit again.
Yeah.
This GNR reunion is going to...
$118 million or something I heard banded around, or $170 million. No, I don't know about it, for all. But it was like 88 at one point, and I heard 180. It's one of the biggest grossing tours this year.
Slash has never been unsuccessful.
Yeah.
If you think about it, everything Slash has done, and he's a road hog.
Yeah, because he stays on the road, he records religiously, and I mean religiously. His output's disgusting.
And he won't do it via the internet either.
Yeah, and he's very old school. He works with everybody. He's guested on so many records, I can't tell you.
Everyone,
and not just metal guys, everybody, Jacko being obviously the biggest example. Yeah. You know, he works with everybody, and you think that's how you create a legacy. Like, do you know what I mean? He just works really hard. As do all of the guys from that who've been through Guns N' Roses
Duff has as well.
They've all just worked really, really hard. Like, and you know, we're giving Axl down the banks here about him being a bit of a diva and all the rest of it.
How long did Chinese democracy take to make?
Oh, Christ knows, on a fucking years.
Like, talk about overcooking something.
Yeah, but you know,
it's overcooked. That's what it is. That's the problem.
I suppose, like, how do you follow an album? That was following Use Your Illusion, double album, you know, huge album, 1990s, huge tour. You know, played everywhere that moved.
Fucking loved those albums.
Huge albums. You know, how the fuck do you top that? So, you know, good luck to you, Axl. I hope it's all working out for you. And I hope the Guns N' Roses... do we hope they make another album? Guns N' Roses get in the studio and make another album?
They don't... An album, but, you know, it'd be cool if they did, like, a cheeky EP or something. Like when they did the Spaghetti Incident.
Or do, like...
a few covers and a few new ones.
Yeah,
and bow out.
Like they did the soundtrack to Interview with a Vampire. They did Sympathy for the Devil, didn't they? Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, I only read recently what the Spaghetti Incident was named after. Are you aware of this?
No.
Okay, I don't know if this is true, disclaimer. I'd like to think it is, because it's very rock and roll. It's something to do with Slash, or a member of Motley Crue. I think it might have been Nikki Sixx. And they decided for the tour they were going to see how long they could go for without washing at all. And like by sort of week 3, and this is touring, so you're playing on stage as well most nights, and you're coming off most nights, and we've been there. We've been on tour.
We have been there.
Where it's like, and you smell all high to heaven, and just going like maybe 2 days without a shower can make you feel horrible. About 3 weeks into the tour, Nikki Sixx, I believe it is, was being helped. Be accompanied by a young lady in reaching a climax of sorts, and he was in with that was going on, and obviously she was so unhappy with the smell of that area that she threw up all over his junk, shall we say? That's what the kids say, innit? And it was spaghetti.
His trouser area.
Yeah. Now I don't know if that's true, but do you know what? I reckon the truth's probably filthier.
If it's not true, I want it to be true.
Yeah, I reckon print a legend. Do
you know what? Hold on, Nikki Sixx. He is the king of filth. He's a filth wizard.
Yeah, he's a filth wizard. Amazing.
He is a filth wizard, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, suing people, I don't fucking... Is this guy destitute? I mean, does he deserve the money? He probably does. Actually, probably just fucking give it to him. You know, probably just give it to him. Although, interestingly, I haven't put this on the list of things to cover in news. And we'll wrap up the news so far before we do Fuck, Marry, Kill in a second. But the news that the Sammy Hagars came out and said, not came out, that would be a massive exclusive. There's no way Sammy Hagar would be coming out, I don't think.
No.
He came out and said that he's got no more ill wind with the rest of Van Halen, with Eddie and stuff, and anything he said he's sorry for, and he just wants to put it behind him now, and he just wants to move on with his life, whether that's with them or without them or whatever. And I just thought, wow, they've been going so long, but that feud's been going so long, and it got very bitter as well with Michael Anthony and stuff. And they've just decided to go, you know what? It's all good now, Eddie. It's all good, Alex. It's, you know, we'll move on. You know, it's not. I think that's beautiful. I think we're finally maybe see that the superstars and the rock stars that are living long enough are putting some of these things to bed now. Like going, you know what? It's not, and if you were seeing closure to some of the things that I never thought we did. If I'd have said to you 3 years ago, Guns N' Roses is going to tour pretty much the full lineup, you'd have been like, fuck off, Coop. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that wouldn't have happened. And now we're getting some closure. We're getting to see these final tours, these final AC/DC final tours where they're going to actually bow out and stuff, or members of the band are going to bow out, and bands are finishing up their careers. And there's a beautifulness to that. There's a beautifulness to a band you see starting, going through stuff, repairing, and finishing, like a great movie, and coming to the end, and everybody being happy. And there's a beautiful.
So we have a happy ending.
Well, not so much. Maybe not happy.
Well, it's a start. It could be the start of something else. You never know.
Yeah. So I think that's nice, and it makes me feel.
You're opening up a whole can of worms. As who do you prefer, Dave Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar and Van Halen?
Lee Roth.
Let's not go there yet.
Dave Lee Roth. I will have that debate all day. It's Dave Lee. Why you think Sammy Hagar was better than Dave Lee Roth?
Well,
are you mental?
Hold on. Dave Lee Roth is the showman.
Right. So hold on. You're saying he doesn't have a good voice?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay. What are you saying?
I say Sammy Hagar has got a better voice. I think he has a more powerful voice, and I think Dave Lee Roth was easily the better showman, and he was perfect for the time.
Right.
And I think Van Halen's seen the times coming, and we
haven't done Van Halen the Fuck, Marry, Kill,
no.
So we'll do that. So you can't talk too much about it. But you can talk about.
But I do think that Sammy Hagar was right for the time as well.
I think he was right. He was 100% right for what they did after Lee Roth, and they did some of the most lauded albums, critically acclaimed albums. 5150 is I love that album as a guitar player, and I think the songs are great. It's not like metal, obviously, but it's still great. It's still a great album. But for me, just those first 4 albums, just you know what I mean. Just his vocal work on that hadn't been done like that before. The stuff he was doing hadn't been done before. You had like Robert Plant doing some of those kind of big, but that whole delivery, they invented arena rock, and he in turn invented arena rock singing, which is different than than what had gone before. Sammy Hagar, I think, technically he may have been better, but he was nowhere the pioneer that Dave Lee was. All right,
and I'll go one further.
Okay.
Was the singer important in Van Halen?
That's 100%, 100%. But we will cover that.
We'll come back to that.
There's the next Fuck, Marry, Kill, which how the fuck I'm supposed to pick the best Van Halen record. Good luck with that, because I can't. I don't even know where it'll start.
I'm having a bit of a moment. I'm having an existential crisis right now.
There's no way we can pick that. Okay, so we'll maybe do a little bit more news, but right now we're going to do Fuck, Marry, Kill. Okay, so before we get into Fuck, Marry, Kill, once again, thank you very much for listening to the Spoken Metal Show. Me and Tim are extremely appreciative that someone listens to our nonsense. I've had some message back, people saying that they listen to while they're in work, while they're driving and stuff, and I think that's kind of what we wanted to do here, just to listen to you, to be entertained. If you can draw some conclusions from it, great. If you can listen to an album that you haven't heard before, or maybe you have a point of view that you don't agree with us, that's what the
if
Facebook
it does enrage
is for.
You, if it does enrage you, let us know.
We don't want to be. I want we to be universally loved or universally hated or somewhere in between. I don't want people to be vanilla about us. I don't want the people to be just medium. It's like I can't stand the fucking Smoking Metal Show. Good. Or I fucking adore it, because otherwise, you might as well listen to something else. You know what I mean? There's plenty of podcasts out there. But we thank you for listening. It really means a lot to us. If you want to suggest what the next Fuck, Marry, Kill will be after we do Van Halen, then we'll take them on board. Also, when we speak to these people behind the scenes that we're going to be speaking to, if you want to suggest anybody that we should be speaking to, then please do that as well. It's so important that we hear how to make things better. There's some parts of the show we've reduced, and some parts of the show we've completely cut out because we didn't think that they worked, and we're trying to get better here. And hopefully you're listening, it's getting a little bit better. So with that in mind, let's do Fuck, Marry, Kill. The the fuck, marry, kill for this pod is the Prince of Darkness himself, Mr Ozzy Osbourne. Now, first things last, we're not counting Black Sabbath because that is a separate entity.
That's a completely different...
This is Ozzy Osbourne, the solo works. As we've previously said, you can't have any of the live albums. So Tribute's out, which is a fucking nightmare because that would have easily gone in as my marry. Easily Tribute would have gone in as my marry. You can't have a live album. You can't have like any of that mess around in between stuff. So you've only got really... I'll read them all out. So you got Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, Bark of the Moon, Ultimate Sin, No Rest for the Wicked, No More Tears, Osmosis, Down to Earth, Undercover, Black Rain, and Scream. Okay, so let's hit the ground running. We'll go with the fuck. Tim, what is your fuck for Ozzy Osbourne?
Seriously, you're making me go first.
Well, did I go first last time, or did you go first? I can't remember.
Oh. All right, no, I'll go.
Okay.
I'll take it. I'll take my fuck for this.
Okay.
Is his first album?
Okay.
Blizzard of Oz.
Blizzard of Oz. Now that
is my fuck.
The thing in the room that we must cover, obviously, Mr. Rhodes. Potentially, if not, he's always in everybody's greatest guitar players in metal lists, in rock lists, but he's also in my greatest guitar players of all time lists.
I think he's easily. I'd say he's the most influential guitarist that metal's seen.
Blizzard of Oz is one of those records that they talk about when they say it's a watershed moment, it's game-changing, all those other nonsense things that people say about records. That was hugely important for a number of reasons. Ozzy comes back from the dead, basically. He's done. He's left Sabbath. There's nothing going on. And Randy comes into his life and changes it forever. We all know the stories about how he got the gig and Ozzy not believing in what he heard, and recently there's been on YouTube, there's been Ozzy listening to Randy playing these like audition and stuff, and that's just been incredible. It's difficult to argue anything other than Blizzard of Oz to be an unequivocal masterpiece. There's no argument.
Yeah, do you know what my favourite one? What?
You're not going to like this, but it needs to be talked about. I am of the understanding. And this is horrible because it tarnishes the whole fucking record.
I think we're going to fall out over this.
It has to be talked about. At the Spoken Metal Show, we embrace adversity, we embrace it, we try and understand it.
Yeah.
They re-recorded Blizzard of Oz, didn't they?
Yeah, there's something about that. Yeah,
with Rob from Metallica, I believe was the guy that did it. I'm going to see if I can find out exactly what they did. But yeah, they re-recorded and took off the bass from that. So the 2002 they reissued it, which replaced Daisley's and the original bass and drum parts with new parts by Mike Borland from obviously Faith No More, and Rob Trujillo from Metallica. And a new backing vocals as well by Mark Lennon and John Shanks, according to the bio on this. Sharon's saying she's not responsible for the decision to re-record the parts.
Can I just say bullshit?
I don't know if we believed them. Why do it? And saying we want to turn negative into a positive by adding a fresh sound to the original albums. So the record you've got right now might not be the original Blizzard of Oz, then, eh? It's not the one with those recorded parts on. You're going to have to go to
2002. I listened to it before 2002.
Yeah, if you listen to it pre-2002, then it's happily your fuck. If you listen to it afterwards, I don't see it's valid. Just from a technical standpoint.
But it's still Randy.
No, I agree. Pre-2002, that's it. Afterwards, it's tarnished. It's tarnished by that. Not the playing wise.
I understand what you're saying. Because it kind of unjust.
Yeah, it
feels
not cool. Wrong, doesn't it?
It's like Mustaine doing it for taking Marty out. But
to be fair, I have to put up an argument, obviously, for it. But for me, it's my marry. Because I adore that album.
Are we going to cover your marry now then?
Well, I have to because it's interchanged with yours here.
Yeah.
Because it was the first time I'd really heard a metal guitar player playing something other than metal, classical guitar, D, had the acoustic and
You
flamenco.
get ballads as well. You get Goodbye to Romance.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And things like Suicide Solution and stuff like that. This is just chock-a-block with... And it was the first time I heard studio engineering, like echoes and stuff like that. And vocals and things and stuff at the beginning, like when he goes, all about, and you get all that. It was the first time I heard it. And I heard this album and saw it on the show After Hours, where Randy's playing the Les Paul and the Polka Dot V. And it's, you can see this on YouTube. It is still a masterclass. And I was just like, this guy is the fucking the shit. End of story. He's the best player out there, like, you know.
Do you know what, Randy Rhoads, on Randy Rhoads, that I don't see that he was, what he did just hadn't been done, that he was a very, very good classical player.
Yeah.
Who thought, well, I can do this thing with a plectrum.
Yeah.
I can do this thing with a...
Rock's not that difficult. This. It's mostly in the same key.
I can just turn the gain up on one of these amplifiers.
Yeah.
And, oh, look at me. I'm ripping.
Yeah.
Oh, I can shred.
And he just seemed to be... I think what he brought to Ozzy is he was so removed from the scene. He wasn't really a... You know, although now when we look at him, he had the flares and the leather snakeskin mini jacket and the Jackson and all the rest of it. And he was giving it all the beans. But in his mind, he was more concerned that he was... As from playing point of view, like he wasn't very, I don't think he was very rock and roll off stage. From all intents and reports, he was a very quiet guy, you know what I mean? He wasn't, you know, whereas Ozzy was out smashing it. He was, you know, he used to get lessons while he was on tour. He used to get lessons from guitar teachers while he was on tour. That's madness, that's brilliant. Some argue Diary of a Madman, by the way, is a better album. You know, Over the Mountain and stuff like that. Those people are wrong. So that's my marry, because it was so... I still listen to that album pre-2002. I still listen to that album now and think there's no one who took that any further. People took from it and did great stuff with it, but no one took it any further. I don't think. I think he was a law and a light all to himself. When I miss Randy Rhoads, something fierce, because I would have loved to hear what he was going to do.
And not just everyone's the first neoclassical guitarist. Well, no, he wasn't, because that was he wasn't.
You know,
but
he just certainly, it's like you know, Eddie Tappan. You know, wasn't the first, but he just did a thing with it.
Richie Blackmore was the first neoclassical guitarist, and clearly Rosie and Randy Rhoads loved him clearly. Yeah. But like he was a fairly cool bluesy player and quite a mellow, nice player as well. He had a lot more facets than people give him credit for. I loved what he did with all the Sabbath stuff as well when they toured. Like his version of Paranoid and his version of Iron Man are just beautiful tributes to Sabbath. But that's why it's my marry, because I've got such misty eyes about Blizzard of Oz. Okay, so my fuck, without question, No More Tears. I adore that, and on a number of levels. The reason I adore it is because I'm a huge Zakk Wylde fan. I like what he did, where he took it and just went with the fast pentatonics rather than doing the classical stuff, and he did his own thing. Kind of took Ozzy in that next direction. To say that he could probably do any of it, though.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen him and I've watched him, and he can do any of it. But he had this really great sound of his own, and then you get the sort of shadow figure in the background of Lemmy writing some of the songs. Hellraiser,
I think a bunch of the songs.
Mama, I'm Coming Home. He wrote those songs. They're on the writing credits for him. And it just brings the whole album up, and just another, because Ozzy's always worked with writers throughout his career, sometimes bad, sometimes good, but it just brings his whole back. It's all sort of songwriting just comes up a notch, because Lemmy's come in, because Zack's come in, and they've kind of brought this whole thing up. And that album does not have a bad track, and it's so heavy in places and so well written, so melodically interesting. And it's got songs that people don't talk about. Mr Tinker Train, that's a song about a paedophile, and he's singing about it, and you're like,
that's dark as
that's
hell.
Dark as all hell.
Yeah.
And no one talks about that. Like.
Well, I laughed when you said that, because No More Tears is my marry. So we've just crossed over on fucking marry.
So we're saying we'll have a swingers party for Ozzy Osbourne. Okay.
Well, I'm fine with that.
Why will you marry No More Tears then?
I see it at the time as pretty much the perfect metal rock crossover album.
Yes.
I, as you said, I can't actually see a wrong move in it.
Yeah, there is,
all.
Because there isn't one.
Because there isn't one. The guitar playing is, quite frankly, fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And Mike Inez from Alice in Chains playing the bass, and it is epic because he wrote that bass line. There's no more tears.
Listen to the groove from like Zombie Stomp if you want to hear that, like a band just taking a groove and go. And those three guys did that in that studio there. That you could tell that wasn't I've wrote a riff, let's go. That's them working it out to get to that. You know, that's a group musician.
It's fucking fabulous, phenomenal album.
There is a downside to No More Tears. In the interests of embracing all, the tour was called No More Tours. And he said he was never playing again.
Yeah,
that was 1991 too.
You told a lie.
Like the fucking Eagles, you lying motherfucker, Oz.
Did you just reference When Hell Freezes Over?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
But I'd like to think it's also a thinly veiled... what's it called? The dude, the Big Lebowski. Thinly veiled. So it's nice that we're pretty much on the same page with Ozzy. Although, we'll do the kill. We'll do that. But I want to talk about Ozzy's guitar players. I want to talk about that. So,
can I just say that No More Tears is the best solo fucking ever? There you go.
It's frightening.
The solo in No More Tears. It's just ridiculous. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Genuinely,
even Zach thinks it's probably his best work. Like, have you heard when Black Label Society do it? It's ferocious.
Holy
mate.
Shit!
It's
ferocious.
And
if anyone hasn't heard No More Tears by Black Label Society,
you need to go hear that.
Fucking just go now, YouTube, whatever. Do it.
So
now.
let's talk Kill. Okay, so what I am willing to bet it's in the lower half of the list, near the newer stuff. What's your Kill?
Oh no! Because I've just gone.
Do I go? Okay,
so you go first. It's your turn.
It's tough, right? It's tough, because I didn't like Down to Earth because that was close to the next thing he did, but it had what was his name? Oh, John. I can't remember what his name is now. I'll figure it out anyway. And the problem I've got with this album is some of the sentiment on it, the fact that it's fucking awful, some of the songs, but it's Black Rain, 2007's Black Rain. Okay, Ozzy, what the fuck? He's just after he'd done Undercover, which was the covers album, which we can't say.
We can't use that.
We can't use that.
We can't use that.
And it's crap.
Because it's fucking
now
awful.
Critically, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some people quite like it. The big song on this is I Don't Want to Stop. And I think for me, my problem with it is...
It's awful.
is that I did want him to stop after No More Tears and No More Tour. I wanted to stop that. And it just feels like a monumental cash-in. Now, I'm looking at the track list in there. What the fuck, mate? I mean, what the fuck? There's not a riff on there. And and I just wonder...
is it right that Zach had a lot less to do with this album?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. He had very little to do with this album.
Yeah,
as
he's
far
a writer,
as I know.
and that's about it.
No, well, he didn't really write. I know he's credited, but
but I mean, it's probably ham-fistedly shoehorned in there.
Yeah,
it's just front to back terrible, and it was absolutely bastardised on loads of stuff.
I remember seeing "I Don't Want to Stop" on a television performance,
and
I was just like, oh. Well, Ozzy's gone to shit.
Yeah, and it's used on like Guitar Hero and stuff and all that things. And it just felt like the cash-in album. It really did feel like the cash-in album. If there's anybody listening that thinks that that's even approaching Ozzy at even any kind of quality, that's just madness. It's just front to back a very poor album. I mean, is there any defence for Black Rain?
No.
Wow.
The only defence could be Zach's on it because he's wonderful. But
yeah,
no, that was my kill. But because you've said that,
right,
I'm gonna go one further.
Right
I'm gonna go to. Where are we allowed Scream?
You're allowed, yeah, of course you are.
I'm allowed Scream.
2010's Scream.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff wrong with this album.
Right, it's the one after Black Rain. And do you know one of the things that really upset me about this album? It's when he fucked off Zach.
Yeah.
Now Gus G is a phenomenal player.
There's no doubt in that.
Right,
There's no
he's
doubt in
ridiculous. The shit that guy can do.
Yeah.
But to me, it aped of, I want a Randy Rhoads. I want Randy back. And Gus G was kind of in that vein.
Right.
And there's nothing there. Do any of those... We're looking at the songs right now.
I can't... I know maybe two or
at
three.
least I knew. I know. I don't want to stop. It was a single. It was... It's the same producer, actually.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It's Cutty Cooker, as they say. It's just one album after the next.
Same Black Rain producer, Kevin Cherko. And if you see, Cherko is on the writing credits for every fucking song.
Yeah.
As he was with Black Rain as well. He was writing this song. He was writing the albums. And that's why I think we hate them both.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a fucking gigging guitar. He may be a freaking musical genius, but you know what? He doesn't write good Ozzy albums. You know, to me, these are not good Ozzy albums. They've got nothing in them that says to me, that's actually an Ozzy Osbourne album. There's no fucking No More Tears there. There's no Diary. There's nothing. There's nothing in these albums that fucking do it for me.
Does Ozzy at this stage of his career? Does Ozzy need a guitar player? Like, because when you're a guitar player for Ozzy's band, which is a fucking probably the toughest gig in the world for a guitar player if you think about it, you have to be able to play Randy, Zach stuff, Jay Healy stuff. You have to be able to play all that. Iommi to a certain extent. You have to be able to play all those styles dead well, amazing, and you have to bring your own. But I think with guitarists, what Ozzy needs is you need to be a good guitar player. That's a fucking given. It's the biggest job in metal in that respect. Yeah. But you also have to bring something else. Like Randy brought that calm. I imagine he wasn't much of a hellraiser, so to speak, and that's what Ozzy needed then. Zach was that stable, workman-like, I'll do the drinking, you know what I mean? I'll steer the ship when you're not working.
Well, no, I'll do the drinking. I'll do all the writing. I'll stay in the studio till 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'll work, get it done. Now, I'm not saying Gus G isn't worked as well, but I get the feeling that as a big character, instead of working alongside him, he maybe worked under him. And I think that might be Sharon as well coming into play there.
I was going to say
working
it was
under rather than alongside.
They clearly got rid of Zach through Sharon because Sharon didn't think he was suitable.
They still look after him, though. They still look after him. He still gets he's well looked after, mate. Don't worry about that. He'll be family now to them. I
don't know. I think it was a mistake getting rid of Zach.
Yeah. Well, he wanted out, didn't he? He had the Black Label thing, and he wanted out. How many years was he with Ozzy?
Yeah.
Fucking a long time.
Yeah,
but that must be a
long
fucking
time.
How the hell do you even prepare for that show? From a guitar point of view.
Well, it shows how good Zach Wilde does actually get a bit of shit in the press. And don't get me wrong, in my band we both love Zach anyway, so it's not an issue. But we'll come up against some guys. Oh, fucking Zach Wilde! All he does is pentatonics. Well, actually, no, he doesn't. He does a lot more than that. Actually, if everyone listens to him, maybe recently I haven't liked his new stuff, but quite frankly, everything he did with Ozzy, his playing is impeccable.
Yeah.
End of. Then maybe, there's an album we've just lambasted that we fucking hated. He wasn't on my kill, and that's one of the reasons why it was my kill, because it had no soul.
That might be. I think Sharon's dropped a dime on us, and that might be the police coming for us.
Maybe, yeah.
You're charged here today, Mr. Cunningham.
with sassing about Ozzy Osbourne.
And then they bring up all of Ozzy's guitar players. they fucking go to town on you. And the last one's Sharon. And all she does, she comes up into the little fucking pub thing. And they don't swear on the Bible. They swear on Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, an album. And they put their hand on that. And they swear on that. And Sharon says, fuck all, except she gets a black hat out and puts a black hat on.
Now, hold on, would Sharon be able to go near the album Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, or would that
No,
in turn
that's
actually...
how
She wouldn't be able to touch that anyway.
No, she burns, obviously, but...
Oh, right.
Yeah, and the only way we get out this, is it gets thrown to the jury. Obviously, the jury has to decide.
She puts her hand on Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, her skin starts burning, and she just smiles.
Yeah.
Because she kind of enjoys that, probably.
Well, the only way we get out this is if Bill Ward's on the fucking jury. And that's how we get out. We get exonerated.
Yeah.
That's the only way that's going to happen. So talking about Ozzy's guitarists, because we need to talk about. We could do a whole show.
We've missed one out.
We've talked about Ozzy's guitar. We have missed one out. Let's just go through and hate lists. I'm not a fan of, a lot of these websites is top 10 Pantera albums, not 10 Pantera albums, but top 5 greatest riffs by. Fuck off with all that noise. The reason we say fuck, marry, kill is that's about as far as you can take it. Who's the 5th best guitarist in metal? Shut the fuck up, do you know what I mean? Stop making lists and go out and see a fucking show. You know what I mean? But we do fuck, marry, kill because that's not a list. It's just our preference. We think about those things. Maybe check that album out if you didn't like it. You might be sitting there listening and going, I didn't know Ozzy did an album called Blizzard of Oz. If you need your fucking head read, but go out and listen to it because it's amazing. But you might not know, so... But in order to do lists are nonsense. But if we had to put in his guitarists in some kind of order, now obviously Rhodes is saintly, so he's always going to be number one. It's difficult to argue anything else against that, and he almost always gets number one. Largely, a lot of people say Zakk Wylde number 2, and I'd say that's fairly justifiable as well. It's the next ones that get difficult.
I don't think it is actually difficult.
Really?
Number 3, yeah.
Jake Healy.
It's Jake Healy.
Talk about the just underrated guitar player.
He's easily as good as the other two.
Bark at
as
the
a
Moon,
player.
Ultimate Sin, they've got several bona fide Aussie classics on there. End of story. Still in the set now.
Yeah.
Some of the playing on Ultimate Sin, I was saying to Tim before we came on this, Killer the Giants and stuff, just beautiful rock playing and I know he's had a lot of problems after he left Ozzy's band for whatever reasons. He went his new band hasn't seemed to really kind of get started, and he seems to be trading on past glories, and I feel really sorry for the guy because I want him to be amazing. That strap playing, harmonics and stuff, and the stuff that he brought to it, just brilliant.
Yeah,
at a difficult time as well.
Bark at the Moon's fucking wonderful. And I admitted to Coop at the start of this that I don't really know the Ultimate Sin, and I apologise for that.
That's right.
I apologise for that, and I will rectify this. But it's not an album I've ever really explored, and I'm going to. But Bark at the Moon, clearly I have. And the guitar on that, it's something to look up to as a guitarist.
Splendid. And it's Ozzy's voice is that perfect mix of just before it's a fucking car crash and Sabbath. It's that perfect mix where it's like they've just managed to coax a good performance out the guy and off he's gone. But then who else have we got there?
I didn't know he played in Dio, didn't he? Jake Healy.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking now of all the guitarists that Ozzy's ever worked with. Now, one of the things we were talking to Neil Mellor about this, about Steve Vai writing with him.
Steve Vai was
I would have loved to have heard
It was
that,
meant to be almost a slip of the tongue thing. Steve Vai was going to come on board, and it just never worked out. I think, from what I've read about it.
I'm trying to find a list of all of them because I want to cover them all. I
don't think Vai would have been right.
I don't know. Vai's one of those guys that can do that. Could do that thing where he kind of, I think that's just current sort of things. And I think he's the guy that he's like that chameleon. He can just manage to turn what he looks like to being perfect for, Whitesnake, he kind of twisted a little bit of what he was doing to be that rocker type of guy.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at some of the guitar players. Gus G. Now, there's a great guitar player. And live, I saw him playing Ozzy stuff, and he did an absolutely splendid job. He's maybe 4th or 5th for me. But then you've got
as a player, he's a great player.
Right. Okay. So
that's a really fucking big list.
That's a big list. Let's try and attack this list somewhat, and hopefully it's in some kind of fucking hell revolving door.
We're into keyboard players.
Okay. So let's see.
Hell.
Let's have a little bit of a look.
Rick Wakeman.
What was Rick Wakeman play?
Rick Wakeman played with him for a while. So
Jerry Cancel's on Undercover. We can't talk about Undercover though because it's a cover album.
No, it's a cover album, so we're not allowed to talk
Jake
about
Healy,
it.
Brad Gillis. Now there's somebody who doesn't get Yeah, and he was during 1982. So he's the guy that replaced Randy.
Yes, and
That
I think
gives us
he's.
a Night Ranger.
I think he's suffered from the you replaced.
Yeah, apparently stuttered something shocking as well. Like the Ozzy said, like famously, like
Probably because
he
they were
stuttered
fucking
and
horrible
stuff,
to him.
and he
'cause
was quite difficult. He was quite a quiet guy. Like so, that might have been quite tough, especially following Randy. Because what odd headspace is Ozzy? Do you know what I mean? He's like, you're fucking not Randy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's
must be
Jason
tough.
Newsted and Metallica, isn't it?
Wow.
It's, you know,
So yeah, that's tough. That. But he did it for a while. Like he must have done a tour or so with it.
yeah, we did. It's Speak of the Devil's hymn, isn't it?
So I mean, for me, it's Rhodes, it's Wild, it's Jakey Lee, Gus G, and then the host John Holmes. I think did a good job. He was very good on Perry Mason.
Oh yeah, everyone always thinks Perry Mason is Zach.
Yeah, because it's so like him. Like, but he does a good job. He was only
he was
young lad,
that's a very good riff.
Yeah.
That's a very that's a fucking great riff, man. That's a great song, actually.
You know, so kudos to him. Like, but they swiftly got rid of him. like, which is
maybe
interesting.
do you know what I'd
swiftly.
like to see?
What?
I'd like to see an Aussie, like a massive. What's the festivals that Aussie did?
Ozfest.
Sorry, thank you. A massive Ozfest festival where he did like a one-off show with as many of his previous guitarists as possible.
And a lot of them still alive. A lot of them still about.
The only guy who really couldn't do it is Randy.
Yeah.
The rest of them can do it, and that would be something to behold. That that he could come and play. Perry Mason, and then
do it
get
chronologically.
all respectives. Zach is clearly going to have to come on and do things like No More Tears, and I'd shit a chicken if I saw that. Like,
is there any chance Ozzy can make another great album? Because he's almost, God bless him, and we'd love Ozzy Osbourne.
Let's be fair, Ozzy's never written the lyrics.
No,
the songs.
Aside from the things that help that become into being of an album, however it is, however right as you get, whatever you do, is he capable, do you think, of writing a great album again? Are we ever going to see it again?
It depends who writes it with him.
And he's getting on now. Vocally, it's hit and miss occasionally.
And I'd say to him, hey, do you know what? Check out what Jake's doing. Check out what Jake Healy's doing at the moment, because his band are poo.
Yeah.
Harsh. But he's a great player. Why don't you just tour with him? Or maybe write an album with him, see how it goes. Because he's not going to stop. I don't think he's going to stop.
No,
I don't think he's going to stop.
Well,
he always says
Ozzy's that guy that's not going to go anywhere, so to speak. And although we said that, I said that about Lemmy. You know what I mean?
I think Zach's done.
Sake.
I think Zach's done with him.
Yeah.
Zach's got other things.
Yeah, he's got a whole life and a whole career now. Do
you know what I'd like to hear again? Fucking Pride and Glory. His best stuff. But no, Zach could never come back full time.
Yeah.
But I think you offered it to someone like...
Here's a thought.
Jake.
Let me throw this thought out.
Okay.
Talk about guitarists that should have played with Ozzy but never played with Ozzy. Do you know what I want to hear? Eddie Van Halen.
How would that...
Judge, I don't care about the tour, although I would fucking go crazy to... Eddie Van Halen plays Suicide Solution, does the Randy solo but mixes in his own stuff. Mate, my head would explode.
Crazy Train would be amazing with Eddie on
I just wonder what that would sound like, an album where Eddie's going to get a whole bunch of riffs.
Well, he'd go straight back to that era.
He'd reset the clock almost straight away.
Yeah.
And he's big enough for an artist and big enough a guy in the business that he could work with Ozzy.
You can hear it. I think you can hear a lot of Eddie's style on the first two albums.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? Ozzy and Eddie Van Halen. Fucking hell. That'd be...
Do you know who would have been amazing with him?
What?
And we can't have.
Yeah.
Is Dimebag.
That's it, isn't it?
That would have been... Yeah. That.
Can you imagine that?
Okay,
say Damage Plan didn't work out for whatever reason, and Vinny and him, as impossible as it may seem, split up for some reason, and he's having a gig. I reckon he probably would have joined Anthrax more than he would have joined Ozzy, if I'm honest with you. But
Cadillac Rockbox is an amazing song.
But yeah, Ozzy and Dimebag. Wow.
How amazing would that
Is he
have
the
been?
best guitar player that Ozzy's never had? It's Dimebag, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not Steve Vai, it's Dimebag.
It's Dimebag.
It's Dimebag. Because, in my eyes, Dimebag was the greatest metal guitarist ever.
It's difficult to argue against that. It's
Um,
difficult to argue against
and I think he
that.
could have played with any band and made them better,
Yeah.
almost.
But I think he could have gone in with Ozzy and he could have
Think
played...
about the riffs that...
Could have played all the stuff that's gone before. Huge Randy fan, yeah. He's the best mates with Zach.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Pinch harmonics, and he took, like that. He took by his own admission. He took from Jakey Lee. He went and did his own thing with, and then it'll come up. And it's not like he's short of a fucking couple of riffs. Like
He would have made it slightly bluesier. That's what he would have done.
He would have given it that Sabbath edge again.
Yeah, because in all fairness, Pantera's cover of Planet Caravan is a fucking great tribute.
Yeah.
That
It's made by people who love that song, right?
Yeah.
But can you imagine? The Ozzy Osbourne comes out like first show and it's Dimebag Darrell. No one saw him play. It's the first show at Madison Square Garden, and the house lights go down, and Dimebag plays Into the Void. I'd be like, heads exploding all across Madison Square Garden, and then proceeds to fucking demolish through Randy's stuff, demolish through Zach's stuff, and a whole host. Oh yeah, that's so.
Dimebag's the greatest guitarist who he's never had.
Wow.
And I don't think Sharon would have ever let it happen.
Too volatile, maybe.
Yeah, he's totally too wild.
Yeah,
he was wild and awesomely wild, and just
wild,
a crazy motherfucker.
Wow, that was a nice spot to leave that. Like, yeah, okay, cool. That wraps up the Fuck, Marry, Kill. One of my favourite Fuck, Marry, Kills that, because it covered a lot of ground. They went
a lot better than I thought, actually.
I was worried because it's difficult to critique the Ozzers. The Ozman, it's difficult to critique that. It's difficult to critique anything that Zach or Randy or any of the guys have done. And people feel very strongly about Ozzy, as rightly they should. He's one of those last stars, like Lemmy, who we thought, is going to be around forever. And I hope that that's the case.
Ozzy is one of the four horsemen of metal.
Undoubtedly. The much more have said,
yeah. The other three being the other members of Black Sabbath. Because without Black Sabbath...
Yeah.
Anyone, do you know what? As an aside, 2 minutes. The other day, in the guitar shop, it's, we talked about this with Neil Mellor, when the shouter, and I said, well, he said, you've got to scream where it's not metal, and I said, well, Black Sabbath is metal, and there's no screaming in that, mate. Yeah. In fact, Black Sabbath is the original bloody metal. And there's no screaming in that, mate. At all. And he's like, oh yeah, but it's not relevant now, and it's not metal anymore. And I was like, fuck off. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you think Black Sabbath aren't metal, and some of the heaviest stuff...
Into the Void? It's
not about production. It's not necessarily about what he plays. It's the deliverance. Yeah. It's the way they deliver it. The way they delivered. Fucking hell,
Black Sabbath, it's 3 notes. Well, a trill. It's 3 notes, and it's the heaviest thing you'll ever hear in your life.
Yeah, it is.
And when he launches into that, people are like, oh shit. It's actually as they intended. That those notes and that whole delivery, that song is genuinely eerie and creepy and evil.
It's not pleasant.
It's not, and you think I don't get that when I hear. No. Forceful played metal. I don't think, that sounds a bit scary. It's been a while since I've heard something that's been unnerving, which is exactly what they were going for with that, underlying.
It's a Hammer horror on record.
Yeah,
it's a Hammer horror movie audio.
So yeah, I enjoyed that Fuck, Marry, Kill. That'd be cool. And we'll now we've got to do Van Halen after that, which is just fucking. I'm not looking forward to that.
And we're going to end up having to do Black Sabbath as well.
And Sabbath will have to go in it too. And I'd like to move into new people, but it's also good to make sure we put and get them done, because we have to do Motorhead at some points and bands like that.
We're going to have the Dio argument.
Let's not do this. So we will do that at some point. So yeah, let's do a little bit more news, and then we'll see where we're at. Like, okay. next bit of news. Obviously, Metallica have got a new song out. This normally isn't a new thing for a lot of bands, but obviously Metallica, very, you know, they're basically metal's representative to a certain degree. They've got a new album out. The internet goes fucking crazy. No album, new song out, but obviously there's a new album out called Hardwired to Self-Destruct, I think it is, yeah. Have you heard it?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it?
Coop can see my face.
It's head and hand stuff. Is it that bad? I've heard it. Is it that bad?
Well, okay, the lowest point, we all know what I think the lowest point was.
Right.
Really.
Right.
Without being obvious, it was clearly Stanger.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call it by its proper name. And they've been recovering ever since. And in fairness, you know, in Death Magnetic, there was a few, you know, good riffs. I really like Judas Kiss. But I just don't feel... I didn't feel it at all.
Right. A lot of people seem to have problems with the lyrics. They say they're a bit, you know, a bit of third grade or fourth grade.
It's always been rhyming with numbers, though, with Hetfield. Yeah. If you look back at his lyrics, and until you get to things like Creeping Death, where he's actually, you know, quoting the Tibetan Book of the Dead and stuff like that, and he's talking about, you know, the Egyptian Holocaust,
yeah,
you know, and the angel of death moving through the streets. You know, that was fucking awesome. And the thing that should not be, he's talking about the Cthulhu mythos.
Yeah.
After that, you know, definitely with the Black Album, it was kind of rhyming with numbers from then. I think he kind of like lost ideas almost, or he changed. And
it's got to be, to keep it balanced, it's got to be tough for Metallica now. How the fuck are you going to keep anybody happy? You're probably best not bothering. You're not going to keep... your core fan base probably left a long time ago.
I don't get it.
Your new fan base is probably quite fickle.
The best thing they could ever do now is re-record And Justice for All with a proper fucking...
Did you see the video of the
production.
kids playing and the riffs on Justice for All?
Oh my God, 3 kids and they're bloody amazing. They're better than Metallica.
Jesus, they were amazing. But I love the bit where the kid, if you watch it on YouTube, it's these kids playing outside like a bookstore in America, and they're like 12.
He's the next Dimebag they're making that kid.
The kids, and this one kid, they're just playing the riffs. He's not even singing. He's just playing the riffs mostly from Justice for All, and then they do stuff like Lightning and Seek and Destroy and shit. But it's the bit where it's like all it is that
the Eye of the Beholder.
But when he breaks into it, it goes and just to watch his head rocking back and forth, I was like, that is what metal is really all about.
I'm going to quote The Simpsons.
Okay, lay it on.
He said, "That kind of neck confidence is not something that you can learn."
Hat turned back and it's like and I was showing it to Mrs. Coop, and she was like, "I can't really hear the bassist. He's probably not that good. It's probably just the guitarist." And then about halfway through the video, the bassist starts playing all the Kill 'Em All stuff, and you're like, oh, that's Cliff area there. You know, you've got to be good.
He absolutely aces it.
Brilliant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what metal is about. It's not the fact that the kids necessarily, although it's nice that the young folk are kind of keeping that type of thing alive and moving forward with it, but that they were so interested to do that, because someone has either teach them to do that, or they've had to sit and listen to those records. And I just think that's marvellous. As a sidebar,
Drummer's really good as well, by the way.
I don't know how much time have we got here to cover it. I don't want to take it too long. We're trying to keep these within an hour. So we're doing okay now with a couple of things. We're doing okay. I'll get it to maybe an hour and a half, maybe. I just want to tell you this little story, and I was recently at Bloodstock. We were gonna cover Bloodstock to a certain degree. We may still do, but it seems a little bit too late in the day to do it now. Anyway, I was there and I was interviewing some bands and working into some bits and pieces. Before I go into that, rewind to Hammerfest several years ago, and I was working there too. And there was, I was up. I don't know if you've been to Hammerfest. It's a gig where it's in a big hall in Wales, in Pontons, and there's like a set of steps, and you can sit at a set of steps and watch the band, or stand and watch the band, whatever. And I was sitting at the top, and I think Skindred may have been headlining one particular day or something. Anyway, Eamon Amarth. Is that how I pronounce it?
Amon Amarth.
Amon Amarth, sorry, Eamon.
Not Eamon Holmes.
Eamon Holmes. Eamon Holmes was
Amon
playing.
Amarth. The finest Viking metal there is.
Eamon Holmes fucking rips, mate. Yeah, they were playing. And obviously, it's Viking metal, yeah? That's their shtick, if you will. Yeah, he's obviously got horn and long hair and the big beards and Viking songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
I like them, by the way.
They're great. And at the side of my eye, the corner of my eye, I see something coming across the crowd and cutting through the crowd almost, not cutting right the way through, but cutting up to the side of it. And it's a Viking Norse ship, and it's about as big, I'm looking at this desk now, about most of the size of this desk, maybe to there to the end. So we're talking 6-7 foot long, maybe I'll do.
I think 10 foot long.
Okay, maybe so. And it's got like the whole thing with the shields on the side and the fucking dragon and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? I couldn't quite see. So I come down, face over, and I realised the two people either side said vehicle, moving it along. And there's a guy this ship has been fashioned around a guy's bed, if you will, like you know, like a hospital bed.
Oh, right.
And then I realised that the guy in the bed is this disabled guy. He's got obviously a number of disabilities and he can barely move. And his friends have fashioned the boat around his bed because he's a huge metal fan and he wants to go and see the show. And taking a bed is not metal. Taking a bed is a fucking Viking ship. Now that's metal. And he even had a Viking hat on. And I thought it was the most amazing thing.
I love this.
I thought it was the most amazing thing. So, remembering that, fast forward now to Bloodstock, and I'm walking over to go to the VIP area, and you go around a little route, and there's not many people around. And he's obviously, him and his friends, I've got unloading almost to bringing him off the vehicle that he gets brought in, and there's the ship again. He's got the ship, all his friends, and he's got like various medical things around him, obviously, because the guy is, you know, very clearly having a tough time. And I just want to say, if that guy is listening to this, or if someone can get that to him, I wanted to go over, okay, and I don't want to get all teary-eyed about this, but I wanted to go over and I wanted to tell him that he was fucking badass for doing the stuff he's doing. I want to tell his friends, the two guys that were with him, that must go to a lot of festivals with him, and it looked like a real tough job to get that out, that they're metal too, like, that they're fucking... And I wanted to go over and take a selfie with the guy, and I didn't. And I think the only reason I didn't is I didn't want people to think that, you know, I was seeing him for this disability. I thought that how he was dealing with the cards that he'd been dealt with in life was fantastic. Do you know that he's obviously having some bad times, and he's just gone, you know what? I like the music that I like, and I'm not going to be ruled by the things that have happened to me or are happening to me, and I'm just going to go out and be into my metal. And there he was in his ship. And if that person is listening here, and I'd love to know your name, you, sir, are everything that metal stands for. The two people with him are everything that the music that I love and me and Tim love. You are everything that represents. Overcoming adversity through a love of music. Triumph
through adversity.
And I adore you for doing that, and I salute you for doing that. And I would love to talk to the gentleman and the people involved as well, because I think it's such a beautiful story. I didn't go up because I got a bit nervous in case I don't know why. I thought I may embarrass someone. I don't know. I didn't want to get near anything could cause any kind of problems. I thought I'd go over and say hello and you know what I mean. I didn't want to go to just from afar. I admire you greatly, and I just wanted to say that I saw that at Bloodstock. What a terrific thing! It was similar to the feeling I got when I saw the disabled guy in the wheelchair in the mosh pit, and he got pulled up and he was in the mosh pit and he was crowd surfing.
Yeah,
beautiful, utterly beautiful. Irrespective of your religion, irrespective of your belief system, irrespective of the colour of your skin, the disabilities you have, be it mental or physical, metal welcomes you with open arms. It puts your arms around you, it fist bumps you, you both give up the horns and you get back in the pit. And that is everything that I believe metal stands for. I just wanted to say that.
I have nothing to say but just to silently nod my head in approval. That to me is metal. Okay, and I think that's a positive note to end on. I think that's exactly as we wanted to. So we're going to wrap this up now. We're trying to keep them more like an hour ish. We're about an hour and 15. I like to keep it to about an hour, and that's what I think we're going to try and do, so we can get more of these done. They're a bit more concise and a bit more kind of less of a meal than nearly 2 hours, which is some of the ones we've done. As always, feel free to like us on Facebook at The Spoken Metal Show, at Twitter at The Spoken Metal 1. You can see all these links on our page, and please suggest it to other people if you think that they find it funny, amusing, entertaining, intelligent debate, whatever. Please suggest it to people, and that's the way we can reach more people. This podcast isn't about getting 1 billion followers. It isn't about how many likes we get. That's a beautiful thing when that happens, when we get likes, and I'm very appreciative of it. Me and Tim love the fact that people are digging this, but it's just for us. It's entertainment for people who like metal, and we hope you do. Both are entertained and like metal. So it just merely leaves me to say, Tim, if you could sign us out. To the listeners of the Spoken Metal Show, there will be no encore.
I don't wanna be rude, you say, and more than if I'm rude, you better deal with